Good morning. Welcome to worship at Park Place Christian Church. We're so glad you're here. We also welcome those folks that are watching us online. Tracy, you got an announcement? Come on. And anybody else, if you've got an announcement, be thinking about it.
All righty, couple of things. February 11th, make sure you are here. It is going to be a party, okay? We are going to be celebrating Mardi Gras, and what we're asking, your ticket to the party is going to be a donation for Emily's Legacy. Dog food, cat food, cleaning supplies, paper towels, Fabuloso, things like that. I will have a list for you. And we're also, after church, we're doing Super Bowl Sunday. And we are going to be selling bowls of soup. We're going to have chili for the meat people, and we're going to have vegetable soup for the non-meat people. $5 a container. You will pick it up and you will go home and you will eat your soup for Super Bowl, which is that football thing, okay? Now, I am going to send around, this is not a clipboard, but it's close enough. I need you to, shh, it's my turn. You're going to write your name and how many vegetable soups and how many chilies you want. And I've started it so we have a sample, okay? So we're going to start it here, make sure it gets over there. And that's it, and we will see you on February 11th.
I can't wait. That sounds good. Any other announcements this morning? Then if you would, please, stand if you're able as we welcome the light of Christ into our midst. Please refer to your bulletin or the screen for the call to worship. Let us prepare our hearts to worship Jesus, the Holy One of God.
We give praise to Jesus, through whom we have received the new teaching of love and grace.
Through Jesus, our sin is forgiven and we are made whole.
Let us be obedient to Christ our Savior, and live out Jesus' commandment to love one another. As we come to that time to lift up our prayer concerns to God, might remember those who are sick. There's so many people out sick, bronchitis, strep, school systems are closed down. To remember all of those who are dealing or continuing to deal with ongoing issues with all the gunk in the air. So I want to remember those people. Also, yesterday was the remembrance of the Holocaust. And for us to, as someone said, never forget the atrocities that occurred in World War II. So let's pray. Most merciful God, as we come before you this morning, we come as a united group, here to praise your name, here to give you thanks and glory. For you are not only the covenant maker, you are the covenant keeper. You are the one who always has an eye on us and is always there to lift us up when we fall. We come before you to see you with eyes of awe, our heads bowed on our knees. We give you thanksgiving and praise that you continue to bless us with every spiritual blessing that we need, that you equip us with everything that we need to do your work where we are, when we are, how we are. But, oh God, we must confess to you that as you call us into ministry and as you give us opportunities to bless another's life, we sometimes pull back because we are unsure of what to do. Yet you have called us to not think it through, but to allow you to work through us, to allow you, as we're tuned in to your voice, to follow it. For God, we know that our world is a hurting world and in need of some goodness and praise and blessing and love. But God, we know that we too must also forgive ourselves and give ourselves a voice of worthiness, because we know that you claim us and believe in us, that there's nothing that needs to hold us back from serving you as we do our own personal assessments and think we're not good enough. But you value us, you believe in us, and you equip us. So God, as we come before you this morning, we come with open hearts, we come with open arms, we come with a willing spirit, and we come with a heart full of love for you and for those around us. Inspire us and equip us and empower us for the work that is ahead, that we truly may be your voice to someone who needs to hear it, and that we may be the bridge and the anchor for those who are searching. God, our world is in trouble. Be with those who continue to live in war-torn areas. Be with those who continue to be prisoners of war. Be with those who are stubborn and don't feel the need to acquiesce. Be with those who are struggling with not only war-torn areas, but lack of water, lack of sanitation, lack of medicine. Oh God, our world is so much in need. Others whose areas have been hit by hurricanes or flooding or tornadoes or earthquakes. There is much need in the world that you need every hand on deck. May we say yes. May we be there. May we hear your call, and may we respond. Hear us now as we pray together the prayer you taught your disciples to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin Wynn is playing for us today, filling in for Sandy, who's ill, so we really appreciate it. I'll be reading today from the Message, Mark 1, verses 21 through 28. Then they entered Capernaum. When the Sabbath arrived, Jesus lost no time in getting to the meeting place. He spent the day there teaching. They were surprised at his teaching, so forthright, so confident, not quibbling and quoting like the religious scholars. Suddenly, while still in the meeting place, he was interrupted by a man who was deeply disturbed and yelling out, "What business do you have here with us, Jesus, Nazarene? I know what you're up to. You're the Holy One of God, and you've come to destroy us." Jesus shut him up. "Quiet! Get out of him." The afflicting spirit threw the man into spasms, protesting loudly, and got out. Everyone there was spellbound, buzzing with curiosity. What's going on here? A new teaching that does what it says? He shuts up defiling demonic spirits and tells them to get lost? News of this traveled fast and was soon all over Galilee. Thus ends the reading.
Passage with another version, and the Message is, I think, one of my favorite other versions to hear from. So a man is driving in his car in Maryville, Tennessee, when he's driving too fast. And while he's driving too fast, of course, he gets the attention of the police. So the sheriff's department turns on the sirens and the red lights, and they're trying to track him down, trying to get him to slow down. So he finally pulls over, but in the midst of pulling over, as soon as the police car gets behind him, he takes off again. I know we've never seen that before anywhere. So as he's taking off again, there are other police cars chasing us, at least 3 of them chasing him, so he decides to call 911. And he says to 911, "There's people chasing me." And the dispatcher says, "Stop, slow down, move over off the road." And he goes, "No, they're chasing me." So finally, he ends up crashing the car, and then the police were able to apprehend him and then charge him with several different crimes, such as evading arrest, such as destruction of property, such as vehicular assault, such as drunk driving, and evading arrest. Oh, and not to mention the misuse of 911. So this was something this guy's deciding to do, and thinks that this decision was a good decision. Not so good. Interesting in our story today, as we talk about Jesus, last week you'll recall we just talked about Jesus picking his disciples. And now we're on our way into Capernaum, and the first thing that Jesus does in Capernaum is to enter a synagogue and teach. It's not uncommon for rabbis when they're in town to go preach at a synagogue somewhere. Now, what's also interesting to note is that people notice something different about him, that he's not preaching like a typical teacher, that somehow or another he seems to have more authority, or there's just something different about him. Now, a scribe is someone who would be teaching people, but a scribe is limited to the Torah. We teach what it says, we teach tradition, but Jesus has come in here and has gone beyond tradition, beyond what the Torah says, and so people are noticing that this guy seems to be teaching as one with authority. Now, what happens and what makes this such an interesting service at the synagogue this day is that there is a man who is possessed. Now, we are told here that there are many possessions or spirits in this guy because he says, in the plural, what do you want with us? Now, if you haven't caught this, I'm a little bit humored. The man with the evil spirits is sitting in the church. Look at your neighbor. Look around. Anybody sitting here? So it exists in the church, God forbid. So Jesus is coming into the church, and the unclean spirit, as it's said in my version, recognizes Jesus. Does it interest you to note that nobody else does? It's only the men with the evil spirits, only the evil spirits recognize who Jesus is. Everybody else seems to be oblivious. Look at your neighbor. So we have a dialogue now going on between Jesus and these spirits. Jesus, what do you want with us? What kind of temperament do you think this spirit has? One of fear, and we don't mean in awe. We mean, I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of what you can do to me because I am aware of the power you have. And I know that all you need to do is speak the word, and I'm a goner. Everybody else is standing around like, what's going on? What's happening? So really the crux of this passage is where the people who are in the midst witnessing this, notice it's like the Perry Mason TV shows. You know, there's that one witness sitting out in the stand who's the murderer, and they sit back until finally they're caught, and then they're up. I did it. I did it. Even the evil spirits recognize authority. They recognize that this Jesus isn't just anybody, not just a scribe, not just any old rabbi. This guy has something nobody else has seen before now. Not only is it about recognition, but it is about power. Because if you'll notice in the passage, after he says, what do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? So they already know they're in trouble. They already know the kind of power he has, the ability to destroy, and to say, I know who you are. I recognize you. No one else in the room does, but we do. And Jesus immediately quiets them and then says, come out of him. Where else do you see that kind of power? Think back in your memories about where else have you seen this sort of power. Mark will go on to tell a parallel story to this in Mark 4, where they're out on the sea. Now, in biblical days, they didn't understand what the waves and they didn't understand weather patterns. But what they thought was that when they would sail out on the sea, they would stay as close to the shore as they could. Because the deeper you go into the sea, that's where evil exists. Evil things are in there. So we try not to go out there. So in the Bible, whenever it's talked about rough seas, in their mind, that means evil exists. So remember, there's a couple of stories in the Bible about disciples in rough water, right? So Jesus has fallen asleep. The water is rough. The disciples, who are fishermen, they're used to being on the water, but this storm came up so fast and it's so strong they were scared, and they want to get mad at Jesus and say, "What are you doing sleeping? How can you sleep through this? Come on, you need to get up, do something. We're frightened." And what does he do? He speaks to the storm and he says, "Be calm." And there it goes. There's something about the power that with Jesus speaking the word, there's something about the ability he has to silence the storm, that he has this ability to pull demons out of people. And he has this power that nobody else has been able to see before. So is it any wonder that the disciples and all those gathered around are looking at what's happening and going, what is this? Who is this? What? We all would be like that. This is something new. Something new has been brought into our midst. A new era, a new kingdom has just arrived, and we're beginning to see the beginnings of this. And now we're not sure what to do with it. We're not sure what to take about this. A powerful exorcism is confirming the authority they were just talking about. Remember when they just said, he speaks as one with authority. He seems to know what he's saying. And then they see that put in practice. Not only does he speak it, he does it. Wowdy wow. It's a double wow. So, exorcisms in those days, today we do hear about the Catholics have a school for priests to be trained to do exorcisms. I've never seen that, don't know much about that, and I'm okay with that. In biblical days, when they didn't understand something, they would oftentimes ascribe it to a demon. So it could be epilepsy, used to be thought of as someone who's demon-possessed. If you've ever seen anybody in a grand mal seizure, it's a very frightening thing to see. So some of it may well be that it was something that we don't know what it is, so therefore it must be evil. But interestingly enough, and I think Steve in one of your classes talked about that evil wasn't even introduced into Jewish literature until 300 BCE to 200 BCE. Wasn't even a concept before then. So is it something that we put in place because we don't know what else to call it? Today we often objectify evil. Well, the devil made me do it. If you were around in the 70s with Flip Wilson, the devil made me do it. So I don't have to take responsibility for something. I just put it on that. So it's the religions trying to understand and trying to deal with evil in the world. Is there evil in the world? Absolutely. How do we deal with this evil in the world? How do we deal with if it's evil and they know this isn't the path that is the right path? How else, why else would they recognize Jesus and say, "What have you to do with us? Have you come to destroy us?" But it certainly exists today. Have you ever, in your own world, looked at something going on in your life and go, "Man, the devil needs to take a break"? Have you ever had things happen in your own personal life where you just go, "I can't take this anymore. I need a break. I need something else to be happening here because it feels like the world's crashing in on me and I don't know what to do"? Or maybe we struggle with our own demons. Have you ever felt jealous of somebody? Something? Nah. Well, we'll talk. Have we ever felt envious of somebody? How come they can have it? Why do they always seem to get things? Why don't I ever get that? And so it's hard sometimes for people to even celebrate their wins because there's other people who are struggling with the demon of jealousy and envy in their own life that all they want to do is cut them down. I don't care about your win. I don't care about your new car. I don't care about your new house over there. I don't care about that new dress. I don't care about that new shoes. Because we're struggling with our own demons inside about, well, why should you get that and I don't get that? If I can't have that, you shouldn't have that. Have we ever struggled with that? I'm willing to say yes. Or maybe we struggle with prejudice. Some people scare us when they're different. Republicans have never been so scared of Democrats. Democrats have never been so scared of Republicans. We have polarized each other. We're scared of each other. We don't want to talk to each other. We are scared about asking what party you belong to, so we don't talk about it. Our political environment today is one of the most frightening times I ever remember living through. Because now we've all believed in what's evil, what's not evil, what do we condemn, what do we don't condemn, who's right, who's wrong, who's got the power, who's authority. We're scared. We're scared about our country. We're scared about our lives. We're scared about our money. We're scared about everything these days. We're scared about what we can do or not do. Who's got the right authority? Who do we trust? Who do we believe? We don't know. And then we also have to deal with societal evil. We just talked about yesterday being the anniversary of the Holocaust. And for some people today to believe and say it never happened. Oh my goodness. I was in the Holocaust Museum in Houston one day, and they have holograms now. So there's a hologram of a survivor, and they're trying to do this so that they can get as much history out of the survivors as possible. So you can go and stand before this hologram of this man who's a survivor of the Holocaust, and you can ask him questions. It's very cool. He can't answer all of them. It's not quite as developed but you can ask him questions about his journey, and he will tell you all about it. Fascinating. Systemic evil exists when we put one against another, when we say one group is better than another. In the 60s, it was the church that supported the segregation of whites and blacks. We didn't see any problem with them having their separate bathroom, their separate counter, the back of the bus. Well, it's okay with me. It's okay with us. But what do we have today? We're still struggling today with the basic human rights of individuals who are different or look different or act different or live differently than we do. It's alive and well today. Not only do we have to deal with the possessions that we have in our own selves, but that possession also extends into society. Jesus Christ challenges the follower to say, who do you rely on? Who do you call forth as your authority in your life and how you live? What is it you're hanging on to? The things of life or the things of death? The demon had every reason to be frightened of Jesus because they knew they were going to die. when you are in the presence of Christ, it cannot, will not exist. The power of Jesus can transform us. The power of Jesus can cleanse our own souls for those things that we hang on to that do not serve us. Jealousy, anger, hatred, regret, jealousy, envy. None of that is of Christ. But he says, come to me. Let me cleanse you. Let me help you rid yourself of those things, and let me replace them with comfort and joy and worthiness. That you are a child of God, forgiven and cleansed and made whole. For our Christ is the great liberator. The authority and the power that he has can, will, and does do just that. So if Jesus were to walk in the door here today, what is it about each of us he needs to call out and get rid of? Because he can. Amen. Now, I don't watch a lot of football, but thanks to Taylor Swift, a lot of people are watching football. And they're still watching football because her man's team is playing today. I have a good friend in the Eastern Division would really love to see the Detroit Lions win. They've never had a win. Wouldn't it be wonderful to see them in the Super Bowl? Did I see a no over there? Yeah, well, the 49ers are a good team, too. And also to see the Kansas City Chiefs, wouldn't it be fun to see them go to the Super Bowl and see how else this whole romance thing unfolds at the Super Bowl? How cool would that be? And so we pick our teams, and so people have said they are lining up, like Tracy said, we got soups ready to go, we got chili ready to go, because you're going to need it all, because both those games are next Sunday, and we want to watch our team win. And it's all in fun, right? We have our teams, we have our sides, and we have our disappointments when our team doesn't win, but it doesn't separate us, so we hate each other. We high-five it and we go, well, maybe next year. Because we are capable of having different opinions and different teams and not let it pull us apart. And the Super Bowl just becomes fun. A time to eat where you're given permission to eat whatever you want and enjoy the game. It's going, nope. This table is a table that unites us. Doesn't matter what team you're going to cheer for. Doesn't matter where you are. If your team didn't even make it this far, it doesn't matter. Because it's this meal that unites us. It is Christ who unites us. It says, yeah, we can screw up, we do, but he always gives us another chance to try again. So as we come together around this meal, we come around a meal of love and connection, of comfort, of Jesus Christ who sees each and every one of us innocent, forgiven, grace and love extended. So this meal is the most important game in town, and you are invited to participate. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took the loaf, he lifted it up and blessed it. Then breaking it, he passed it to his disciples and said, "Take and eat. This is my body broken for you." Likewise, he took the cup, he lifted it up and blessed it. Then passing it to his disciples, said, "This is my blood shed for you. This is the blood of the new covenant. As often as you drink this, remember me." So in Super Bowl, we tell everybody what team we're on. And we can tell by the clothes we wear, the jerseys we wear, the jewelry we might wear. So everybody knows whose team we're on. When we are on Christ's team, we might wear jewelry or the shirts or whatever. But when we live for Christ, we don't need any identifying symbols because people can tell by how we act. People are surprised when we forgive. They're not used to that. What they're used to is grudges. But when somebody has done us wrong and we forgive them and we continue to see the innocence in them and realize they're acting out of their own pain, it makes it a lot easier to forgive. When we give our life to Christ, we live differently. It changes our life. It changes what we do, and it changes how we think. And that gift is offered to anyone who would like to take part and say, well, I've tried to live without him, but my way doesn't seem to be working so well, so maybe it's time for a new way. That's why each Sunday you will see that we always offer our center aisle for anyone to come down and say, I want to give my life to Jesus Christ. I want to renew my commitment to Jesus Christ. Or I want to make Park Place my home where I live out my faithfulness to Jesus Christ. For those of you online, you might say, well, I'm not there. And say, we know you're here. Maybe not in the building, but you're here. But we have a chat feature, so put in the chat that I would like to know more about what it means to give my life to Christ. And also, if you have something you'd like for us to pray with you about, we're happy to do that as well. But you can make your commitment at home right now by just offering Jesus, come into my life. We'll help walk you through what that means after you do that. We want to be in partnership with you. And by the way, you don't have to live in Wichita Falls to be a member of Park Place. You can be a member wherever you are. So let us know what you need and how we might better assist you. So as we stand together and sing our hymn of invitation for those in the room, this aisle is open to you to recommit, to make that faith statement for yourself, and to make Park Place your home. You're all invited. Let's stand. God, as we leave here today, may we leave knowing that you continue to hold us in love and grace, that you continue to be there to offer us the cleansing of our own inner demons, that we too no longer need to live with them. Help us to open ourselves to you, our heart, our soul, our mind, our spirit, that we can be the disciples you call us to be, to live in freedom and to live for you. This we ask in your name. Amen.